Welcome to Overlanding. Enjoy the ride. Welcome to another episode of Overlanding. In today's episode, you join me here on the banks of the Okavango River. Absolutely beautiful. Now, this Okavango River is not in Botswana. It's actually in Namibia. On this episode, I want to dig into topics of what it's like being a family who've dedicated their life to overlanding. How does it impact your kids? How does it impact your relationships? Also going through and actually filming these adventures and not just having them as holidays. How do you balance that healthy relationship between actually taking some trips, having some holidays, having a break, and working and traveling all around the world? So I think it's going to be a really fun episode. I've got a lot of questions, and I think this one is quite close to my heart, because one day when I have my own family, what's it going to be like? I'd love to get a little bit of insight and bring you guys along on that journey. And I'm going to be joining up with our next guests on the show tomorrow morning, nice and early. We're going to be meeting up with the Croft family from Expedition Overland. So that is going to be a really, really exciting one. We've got 2 weeks traveling all across northern Namibia, going through Khaudum, going into Kaokoland, Damaraland. It's going to be really, really spectacular. I better soak in and enjoy this lush riverine forest all around me, because it is going to get dry, it's going to get hot, it's going to get freezing. We are going into the desert on one epic adventure. So, welcome to Namibia. To meet up with Overland would be no small feat, as they were well into their trip through Botswana, and I would be joining them on the next leg of their adventure into Namibia. I was camped out at Ngepi in the Caprivi Strip, waiting for them to cross the border from Botswana so we could meet up in the town of Davundu, where we could convoy up and begin our journey across northern Namibia. Our first destination would be Khaudum National Park, where we would spend 2 days before crossing the entire breadth of Namibia to the remote village of Epupa, where we could then tackle the epic challenge that is Van Zyls Pass. We could then spend the last half of our journey exploring the Kaokoland. We have an incredible distance to cover over the next couple of weeks, and this is going to be a serious challenge for us all.
My name is Rachelle Croft, and I am one of the founders and owners of Overland with my husband, Clay Croft. I was born and raised in Montana, so that just kind of bred this natural, call it inkling, or just wanting to be outside. It was very common for me and my parents to spend time outdoors, even if it was a Sunday drive, heading up into the mountains. And from a very young age, I loved camping. I just loved all of it. When I met Clay in high school, I found out that he loved the outdoors probably more than I did. He was very much into backpacking and a lot of the outdoor activities.
From when I was little, my mom would say that I was always the one climbing the rocks and disappearing and exploring in the bush and running off into the woods and not coming back till late. That's naturally been who I am. I remember the first time I really noticed that I was adventurous was when my uncle, when we were out on a cattle ranch, told me to go get a bunch of cows that were quite a ways away, a couple miles away, and bring them all back. Here's your horse, go that way, go get them and bring them all back. I had my little pocket compass, and I went up over the hill on this horse that I'd never ridden before, and I went and got those cows and I brought them back. That little micro adventure was really stretching for me. It built confidence in me, and I realized I can do stuff on my own, even if I don't totally know how to do it all. At that moment, I can remember that being the spark where I was like, I want more of this. Going into high school, I got into backpacking, which turned into mountaineering, which turned into long distance travel with backpacks.
So when we got married, 4.5 years later, our dream at that time as a very young married couple, I was 20, he was 21, was to travel the world together. And we wanted to travel for 5 years and then have kids. Mother Nature called instead, and we had kids. We thought it'd be a really good idea when we were broke and had a baby on the way to also get a puppy and start a new business together, not knowing what we were doing at all. That began our business adventure, but having kids kind of altered the way we traveled and adventured together. I personally did not think backpacking with a baby would be any fun. So we kind of moved to vehicle-based travel.
Adventure has always been a part of who I am, and travel has always been a part of who I am. I loved leaving the house and exploring new places.
The desire to travel the world never went away. And Clay at this point had gotten more into cinematography and filmmaking. We had a small business at the time where, filming local commercials around town, learning all we could, gaining experience. I was working, usually had the steady job at that time because one of us had to be. We didn't have the money to pay for travel, first of all, but we still wanted to be able to go and have these adventures. We also wondered if there was a way we could combine what we were doing with cinematography and shows. We'd had some experience on working on larger film sets and smaller film sets and having to solve problems and be creative, that we were like, man, I wonder if we could turn this into a business and fund our travels in this way, but also do something even bigger with that and share that with the world. And we learned about this thing called the Pan American, which felt like a huge pipe dream.
We caught on to this thing called Overlanding, and we kind of developed this idea that maybe we could shoot a show around filming these adventures that we wanted to take. And with that concept, Expedition Overland was born. We started slow, we started small. We started with the trucks that we had in the garage. Initially, right off the bat, decided that if this was going to be anything worth doing in the future, that it had to be built around somewhat of a business model so that we could sustain it. And that's what we did. So we reached out, started cold calling sponsors and saying, hey, we're going to go on this trip and we're going to make some films about it. Would you like to be a part of it? And with that, the business kind of got up and running. Took years and years and years to get to where we are now. And even now, I don't feel like we've made it. We've got a long ways to go. But here we are interviewing in Namibia. So something's working.
Once you start doing these little trips, you kind of catch the bug or the fever, and you start thinking and opening up your mind to what else is in the world that I haven't seen or want to go see yet. And it was really that progression of, okay, well, what's next? Well, what if we went here? Could we go here?
We headed north and did a big 60-day expedition up there and learned a whole lot of stuff. And what we really learned was that we loved doing all of this, filming, traveling, driving, all of it, all of the components, the hard things and the good things. It makes up adventure. While we were there, we decided to run up to a little town called Prudhoe Bay, or Dead Horse, Alaska, which Dead Horse, Alaska is the beginning or the end of what is known as the Pan American Highway. From that moment, we said, what if we could travel the entire Pan America from the very top down through North America, through Central America, into Colombia, all the way down to the bottom of Argentina, where the Route of Three ends at the ocean at the very southern tip of South America. That vision took hold. It was a bigger idea than just traveling through just local areas and camping. We wanted to cross continents and accomplish big routes. So over the next 7 years, we worked on achieving that. Fast forward, we completed the Pan American and then developed other film concept ideas. We've brought in other teams. We've started shooting more stories. We've tried different types of adventures. We've formed podcasts and blogs and websites and started doing consulting for companies. And it just bloomed into what we do now as our full-time lifestyle. Last year we shot the Nordic series. This year we're shooting the Southern Africa series. And at the same time, we've started an all-new network on the back end called the Overland Network, which is now fueling other content creators to go and do things like what we have been able to do and give them a platform to share their content in a very special place.
2011, I'd heard about this rally in Morocco from a woman I just met. And I thought, man, wouldn't that be amazing to go to this rally? And it was an all women's rally, 9 days through Morocco, through the Sahara, unsupported in a lot of ways. And I'd never done anything like that in my life. And at that point, I'd had our third boy, and it's really easy to lose yourself in that time of life because you're giving all the time to young kids, and that's okay. They need a lot of help and attention, and your marriage needs a lot of help and attention, and you're just pouring out to a lot of different outlets. What would that be like to just go do something completely random on my own and see how hard I could push myself and see if I'm up for this challenge? I still don't even know how I got over there, but we raised the money, we got over there, we shipped a car, which I'd never done. I ended up competing in that rally 3 more times through Morocco. And especially the first time I went, it completely changed my life. I remember being lost in the desert, not having a clue where I was. And in those moments, you can give up, you can throw a fit, or you can have a snack, calm yourself down, and figure out the next problem to solve. Pushing yourself to have those experiences, to come out on the other side, I think are so important and integral to just personal growth and human development, because you really don't know what you're capable of until you're put in those positions where you need to dig deep and find out what you're made of. So from Morocco, I did also competed in 3 of the Rebel rallies. It's an all-women's rally. It's 8 days, checkpoints every day, no GPS, no electronics. It's only maps and compasses for both of these rallies. So it's a lot of fun.
Maybe after this trip, I've been to maybe 30 countries or so. The big ones were, Pan American. You knock out a bunch of countries traveling that. Big expeditions across Russia with the E7 expedition. Australia. 2018, I did a big expedition with the E7 expedition as well. We were the first to cross from the Greenland ice shelf from south to north by 4-wheel drive vehicles and back. That was an incredible 3 weeks of epic adventure, extremely remote travel where we were all on our own. I've traveled for fun too. Some of the best places I've been haven't been for work. I traveled in Israel several years ago and other places too, and I dive in Mexico a lot. Adventure and travel and countries is, I guess, it's funny to talk about it because you really start to hear how much you do of it, and love it. So yeah. Rachelle and I had kids when we were really young. I think I was 22 years old. Shelley was 21 when we had Cyrus. We were young and had a ton of energy, and we looked forward to traveling with our kids someday. But kids are kids, and they take a lot of energy and effort, and it slows you down in some ways.
So Clay and I just kind of have this mutual agreement that our kids are coming into our lives. We're not coming into theirs. We are very independent people. We raised them to be very independent and self-sufficient. We knew that someday, with this goal in mind of traveling the world with our kids, they would need to have those foundational things instilled in them beforehand.
So we've been looking forward towards being able to travel long distance on big trips with our children, and we've been introducing them slowly over the years. We've backpacked together, we've camped together locally, just close to the house, and we've been giving them the skill sets to be able to be on a trip like this one right now here in Namibia.
Having the kids on this big adventure through Africa has been a super rewarding, amazing experience as a parent. I know travel for me changes me every time I experience something new. And so to watch them experience these things through their eyes for the first time is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
This trip here in Southern Africa is the first time that we've all been international together for an extended 60-day trip. Big milestone. It's a big milestone to have my family here. I'm really still kind of focused with them right now on raising them, making young men, good young men, and they're well on their way. They're fantastic. It's really just been this trip that I have started to work in the creative space with them. Cyrus, who's 18 now, is really grasping story and understanding the significance of all the little parts that are involved with telling good stories, from creative to technical. So that's really fun to watch and be a part of. So now that he's got that spark, I'm pouring more into him. Ryder, he's very creative. I can see him really diving into the story later on as he develops his creative abilities. He's the writer, he's the drawer, he's the painter. Eli, my youngest, he's all about everything XO, but he's really on the adventure side. So he loves the trucks and he loves how they're built and why. And but he's also picked up the camera a lot on this trip, and that's really fun to see them wanting to be a part of the creative process.
I'm the mama of the group. One of us would need to come home and spend time with the boys, because being gone for 8 weeks at a time when they were younger, we could just tell it didn't work really great. And this is the first time I get to be on the whole thing. I'm actually getting to see what I'm made of a little bit, and getting to be here for 2 months, living out of the vehicles and overlanding. And especially in this part of Namibia, being this remote and off the grid and not having the resources and calculating fuel and water, and or rationing food to make sure that we don't run out before we can restock. It's a great challenge, and it's one that I'm really excited to step into.
So right now in this phase of the trip, we are about to drop into the most remote area of Namibia. I'm really excited to see what kind of trouble we find ourselves in out there and what problems we get to solve, all while being in this very romantic and extreme place in the world, especially for someone who is from another continent. You know, it's even more of a thing. So yeah, I look forward to all of it.
Now, I must say, this is quite a strange feeling. Only having seen the Expedition Overland team on the internet, and now having them and their vehicles all the way out here in Africa is definitely something I'm gonna have to get used to. We're just filling up at the fuel station now, getting some supplies and stuff, and then we're gonna be heading out into Khaudum. It's pretty remote, so we've got to do a lot of prep and get the vehicles right and get the tire pressures right, get the shock absorber set right, but now everyone is going great and we're just moving through beautifully. We have made it to Khaudum National Park. A lovely drive in the thick sand. Mr. Clay?
Yes, sir.
How was it?
It was awesome.
It's pretty
we are
cool,
really getting the shocks and the tires and the trucks are getting a good workout.
Good workout.
What we had to do for that section, we had to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That was rough in there.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Gives a point and purpose to remote reservoir adjustable shock absorbers, that's for sure.
I mean, even we were talking on the radios and we were saying, oh man, we have to have remote reservoirs because just the huge cycles over and over and over again. And I'm feeling my reservoir right now, my rear reservoir is hot.
Oh yeah.
Like that doesn't happen that much. No. You got to run a truck pretty hard to get your reservoirs to get hot.
Yeah, I think also, you know, putting a bit of pace just to try and, you know, catch up with the day and everything. You gotta, but it's the cycles, I think that's what's crazy. You don't realize the bumps, how many
and
bumps.
They're full stroke cycles.
Yeah.
Like, not quite topping out. Tundra, we were working on topping it out, which is the most dangerous.
Yeah. How's this, the Sequoia been going with the trailer and stuff? That's been a bit of work?
The Sequoia, towing the trailer has actually been a dream. This power plant with the hybrid in it, we call it the Ferrari. It just, you get on it and it goes. We've had to put in 80 series Land Cruiser rear coils, the heavies in the rear, because new coils for the new Sequoia don't exist yet.
Yeah.
So we put those in. It's done a pretty good job. It's all up right now, full fuel, full bags, full water. There's quite a bit of weight on that.
Some good R&D, huh?
R&D, man. I already did a video today to send off to the Toyota engineers. Like, this is what's happening. It's good stuff. This is why we're here. Having so much fun.
Okay, I'm coming up on 6. Oh man, this view. Wow, this is gonna be stunning in the morning. Okay, I'll stop here. So we pulled into camp pretty late last night. It was a big day on the road, a really big day on the road, but it was a good day. It's like just slotting into another family, and you know, everyone gets along, everyone's got a good temperament, and it's a really nice camaraderie amongst everyone. You can see everyone's traveled a lot together, and there's a lot of, you know, experience doing this. One of my favorite dynamics is just seeing everyone in the family just kind of get on board. You know, the kids are helping with washing dishes and setting up the tents, and they're involved in the process. And it's nice to see, you know, Clay and Rachelle releasing some of that responsibility for them and, you know, challenging them, teaching them things. It's a really powerful set of tools you can impart on anyone to come and do this type of travel. And I mean, come on, beautiful places like this, spectacular. The Khaudum has definitely been a surprise for me. And if yesterday was anything to go by, today is going to be another pretty crazy day off-road in the thick sand and really putting all of these vehicles to the test. It's good to see, you know, the American trucks giving it a really good go out here. Anyways, team's almost wrapped up and we're going to hit the road. We're heading to the camp called Sekareti.
Khaudum National Park falls into the Kalahari ecosystem and is named after one of the rivers that gives much needed life to the land when the rains fall in the peak of summer. Some call it Namibia's forgotten wilderness, where elephants far outnumber people. The Khaudum forms an integral part of the animal corridor between Zambia, Namibia, and Botswana. The animals go in search of food and water between the seasons, and its formation was to keep these corridors open at the same time as protecting the decline of wild lions and giving the elephants a safe haven from poachers. What a wild and beautiful place.
Made it to camp, and we are actually here before the sun goes down, which is fantastic. So everyone's just jumped on it, they got everything set up, fire's going, donkey boil is going. This is going to be a really good evening here. Time to get some food going, sit and enjoy a beautiful fire, grab an ice cold beer, and enjoy our last evening in the Khaudum.
What did you call the vibe? There's a vibe.
the Gees.
Gees?
Yes, there is a birthday to celebrate tonight. It is Cyrus's birthday, and that means there must be plenty of Gees. And even though there's not plenty of brandy left over after last night, we will make a plan. We will certainly make a plan. We are hitting the road today on the way towards Epupa Falls. We've got a lot of distance to cover. We've got basically, I think it's going to take us about 2 days to get there. We've got one stopover tonight. We've got to refuel, get more groceries, and we're going to be heading to Van Sales Pass and Marienfluss. So it's going to be amazing to get into the Kaokoland for the first time, and to do it with this group is pretty epic. So this is the type of problem solving I like to see. It's a very XO thing, I think, to bring your own fuel pump station with you to Africa. But it's damn awesome. Like now, don't really need to go into a fuel station. But I guess that's how you get past heavy fuel consumption and big American truck.
Not having long-range tanks built for these trucks yet. They're so new that they don't exist. Keeps the weight down off the trucks too, because we can move all that fuel weight to here. So all of this isn't having to be on the vehicles. So there's a time and a place for trailers, for sure.
Absolutely, I think this is a good one. I think it's a really good one. I mean, it's a completely military style trailer. It's a lot of fun. I think it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
It's got a massive toolbox in there, all the gadgets, water, everything. One day, when I'm a big boy, and it's got massive beefy tires. Sick.
We'll fuel Sequoia first.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in my logbook. This is managing the fuel for pretty much everything, not just the individual trucks.
Yeah.
It's a different challenge.
Absolutely.
We took a couple of days on tar roads to cover the massive distance to get to Epupa, and we were glad our wheels got to hit the gravel again. And the scenery really exploded into life as we closed in on the Kunene River. We would be spending a couple of days at Epupa to soak in the beautiful landscapes and culture of the area before trekking towards Van Sales Pass and Marienfluss. Getting to spend a bit of time with the Himba family was quite a special experience. I personally love how they have been able to preserve their traditions even as the modern world makes it harder and harder for them to do so. I like that we as overlanders can visit them in their home and support their villages and community campsites so they can keep up with the changing tides without losing their traditions.
This is a pretty damn magical spot, this. I mean, it's one thing to come in yesterday and see it in the middle of the day. It's a completely different thing to watch the sun come up over the Kunene River. You just don't understand the scale of the falls when you're down by the water. I think seeing it from up here at this camp is pretty brilliant, actually. It's a different way of traveling with like a production team. I'm somewhat used to it from my days in production, and I'm somewhat used to it from our big trips with Rome, but it's definitely a different way of doing things. But it is quite a special way of doing things as well, because you get to see so much in such a short space of time. So it's definitely an interesting thing for the brain to absorb it all. But for now, there's nothing as good as a cup of coffee to just sit down, relax, and just take a couple minutes just to soak it all in. And that's what I'm about to do.
It's rare to find these moments amongst the chaos, where you can take a few moments just to be in a place. Spending a bit of downtime to get our ducks in a row for the adventure ahead would be worth it, because tomorrow morning we head into the heart of Kaokoland.
Sometimes the challenge of a day is just to try and be consistent and keep pushing through. Today's one of those days where we've got slow going, it's rocky, and it is a tough terrain. All we're trying to do is just get there. 89 kilometers to go, and it's just gonna get slower and rockier and more challenging as we go. So very high likelihood we're gonna be rolling in at sunset or actually in the dark. But that's our challenge. I think we're all keen for the adventure and the challenge though.
That was fantastic.
Nice to do a bit of technical stuff.
Yeah, and it was perfectly technical. You know, have to turn, have to go up, have to use 4-low. I put my locker in just to keep everything as controlled as possible this far out. It was awesome. That was
A nice little challenge
so much fun.
to bring us into camp, huh?
Yeah.
I'd heard the term hard landing thrown around a few times this trip, and it doesn't matter how late we get into camp or how early we need to get up, the cameras still need to roll. The team still has to get up and get to it, and these are the days where you really get to see what everybody is made of. We had one of our biggest days yet ahead of us. Today we were taking on the infamous Van Sails Pass, one of Namibia's most technically treacherous roads, and we were hitting it right out of the gate this morning because the trail basically begins as you leave camp.
So to me, this is officially the beginning of the tricky sections of Van Sails Pass, is when you start seeing bits of vehicles strewn across the landscape. And here we have a very unfortunate trailer that seems to have been turned into a signpost and a sticker platform. So now we are heading towards the viewpoint at basically the top of the really sort of steep sections of Van Sails Pass. It's been a great day of driving today. It's been a really nice challenge. It's not too tough, but it pays to know what you're doing, and it pays to have somebody who can, you know, just spot you a little bit here and there. But all in all, it's actually a fantastic overlanding challenge and definitely worthy of its title as one of the most dangerous roads in the world and as a overlander's destination. This is pretty awesome to be up here. And to be here with Expedition Overland is pretty crazy too. This is a culmination of a lot of hard work and cool things to get to this point for everyone. And that right there, that is Marian Vlas. That is a name I've heard thrown around in the overlanding scene since I started in it. Pretty speechless. It's beautiful. Tonight we're gonna just be finding a spot to camp, and we've still got a lot of exploring ahead of us. There's a lot of history around this place in the overlanding scene, and this is remarkable to be here.
My name is Eli Croft. Having adventurous parents is pretty cool. I mean, my dad and mom, they always are out on expeditions, and I'm always like, man, I want to go on that. So I'm finally going out, and it's my full family, my mom, my dad, my 2 brothers, and me. And Africa is the choice, so it's been really cool having parents like that who just love travel and exploration. One thing I've learned from my dad and from my parents is, for my dad, don't pee towards the wind. Work hard and do it right the first time. And then my mom, she's kind of just helped me with little things and how to do this and how to do that. It's really exciting because then once I know this stuff and learn it, then yeah, that gives me confidence to go out and do it and things like that and go explore.
Oh, wow. Okay, I see. Ooh, that's a little skinny.
Oh, the white truck and the green truck.
Oh, that looks...
Those tip over?
Yeah, those tipped over.
Dang. Yeah, we'll definitely need some spotters out here.
Yeah. I will not be in the car for this one.
All the cameras are rolling. It's go time for the team. The moments that are most difficult are the ones most worth capturing. And it's times like these where every team member falls into their roles and has their job to do. The sun is scorching. The rocks are sharp. The pressure is on, and this is what everybody has been working towards. The vehicles are prepared, and so is the team.
Big days like this are, that's why you came out here. This is the whole reason why you're here.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about, baby.
It's adventure. Yeah, it's adventure.
Absolutely.
Today was non-stop adventure.
Like non-stop. We woke up and it began, and we have yet to go to bed, and it is still ongoing.
And look at this place.
It's just, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. It's absolutely beautiful. Oh, overlanding. Woo. You gotta love it.
Yeah, you do.
You gotta love it.
You.
What message do you have for other female adventurers out there?
I would say that if you are interested at all in trying something new, whether that be overlanding, driving for the first time, navigating, give it a shot. And that may require you first voicing that opinion, because a lot of times people just don't know maybe that you have interest in it. And so being able to come and say, hey, I would really love to try navigating, or I really want to try driving. How can you help me learn? Or find a way to get yourself behind that wheel, whether that be a class or finding someone you trust Maybe your spouse isn't the right person to teach you. Maybe you need a friend. That can just kind of build that confidence in you little by little to get you out there. Because once you try it and you like it, the more you can get out and experience it and do it, your confidence will grow each time you encounter a problem. And I know for women, it's really scary to kind of take that first step or just to kind of step back and let everybody else come in and do it. I even still go through that because we travel with a group of amazing men who want to get in and help you solve problems. But the way I learn the best is by having to do it myself. And so even voicing that in the beginning of a trip of saying, hey, I know you want to help, but in order for me to learn and grow in my confidence, I really need to do it, like put my hands on it myself and figure this out. You never know what you're capable of until you get out there and try and do it. I am so excited to explore the desert here in Namibia. These have a soft spot for me with my rallies in the past, and there's something about the desert that just makes me feel a little bit more alive and the vastness of it, and there's just nobody here. The things you get to drive on, I say all the time, I can't believe we get to drive out here. It's incredible.
This is what I've been waiting for!
You found it!
I think Peter said something over the radio. This is cool!
Do we have water to spare? I'm Ryder, I'm 15 years old, and what I'm loving about this adventure is the scavenger hunt and all the rocks I get to drive on, and the sand dunes, and the desert. Attitude is really important, but it's super fun so far. I'm really glad I got to do this with them. This is definitely a privilege, and I love driving this truck, even though it has no AC, but it's okay.
Is it worth the sweat?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm Cyrus Croft. I'm 18 years old and I am a driver, post-production, and sound guy on this expedition. I've been loving driving through Southern Africa here. It's been really incredible. Interesting to drive on the other side of the road. Off-road, I've usually been driving Simba, which is towing the trailer, so I'm getting used to that more, and it's been fun. This is the longest we've been. We did the Croft solo trip, it was about 4 weeks, but this is definitely the longest. I am the eldest, and there comes a lot of more responsibilities with that, watching Ryder and Eli too, and just helping out more and trying to be a leader for them. But there's been some challenges just being around each other so much, but then there's also been really good moments. So I think it's super important you guys get out with your families and just experience the world. Even if it's just going out camping for a weekend or a week, it gets you closer together and like helps you work on challenges you didn't know you need to work on.
Horses with you. Here's some trash. Awesome, this thing.
We left our camp this morning. We head through to Orupembe. Beautiful drive. We had a really thick fog bank that we drove through for a good 20 kilometers. Bought some nice cool drinks and stuff at Orupembe. That's about all they had, and a few little biscuits. And now we've entered the riverbed systems. This is going to be another challenge for the team for sure.
we were now officially leaving the Kawaka Veld. And it's safe to say, it's been one of the best adventures I've had in my life. And getting to spend such quality time with the XO team was brilliant. But we weren't out of the desert yet. Namibia had a few more beautiful and hellishly corrugated roads for us to endure together before we went our separate ways.
Having the boys drive the trucks on this trip is actually really exciting. It's fun to see these young men who have grown up around trucks and hearing Dad talk about these adventures and all that, and they've turned wrenches on these trucks, and now they're out here using them and they're getting to drive them. And I can see the lights coming on with these boys. They're like, ooh, this is a lot of fun. And that's exciting to see in a young man, to see the adventure starting to take hold. And they're like, oh, I want to do more of this. Today I had a conversation with Ryder, my middle son. He's like, I think I'm gonna get a 4Runner and I want to go camping. I just need one more person to go with me and we're gonna fish a lot, you know? He hasn't said stuff like that before this trip. So they're just kind of coming of age. They're getting their feet under them. They're starting to get some freedom. And now they're getting a taste of these trucks and the freedom of this. And they're starting to see what it could do for them personally. And that's really exciting. I think a couple of these boys might just go see a whole lot of the world out of a vehicle at some point. And it's just the beginning for them. And in some ways, I'm jealous, you know, to be at the very beginning of this process at their age. Right? It's just like, it's one of the sweet spots in life, and they're right there, and so it's fun to watch.
It's pretty awesome, I won't lie.
Yeah.
Today was the day we headed our separate ways, leaving Kaokoland and making my way to the Skeleton Coast. I took some time to really let the experience sink in as I cruised to Swakopmund on long, lonely Namibian gravel roads.
So I've made it to Swakopmund, and you know, on the drive here, I took some time to really think about, you know, what I've learned from the Crofts and the value of overlanding in a family environment. There was no one person who's like, oh, why do I have to do this? You know, it's like everyone is excited to get involved and be part of something cool. So yes, it's a work trip, but it's also time for the family to spend together. I've never seen people work so hard in such, you know, difficult environments, and it is really impressive to witness and to be a part of. I think they are going to have a great time continuing their adventure throughout Southern Africa. Thank you very much for tuning into this episode, and I'm sure I will catch you again soon on another one. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next adventure, wherever that might be.